Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Fine. So please come online, all the students, so that we can start. Yes. Hello. Hello Chavi. Hello Swapnil, Ramzan, Sneha, Anchal, Vanchika. Hello everyone. Ravi. आ जाइए सब लोग, so that we can start. Right. So, hello everyone. I am Rajvardhan Bordekar, and today we are going to start our discussion of environment and ecology (NCERT). Right. So, hello, Mukesh. Hello. Fine. So let's we'll start with the subject environment and ecology, and today our focus would be on NCERTs related to environment and ecology subject. Okay. So see, first of all, let me clarify one thing. There is no NCERT specifically for environment and ecology. ऐसी कोई NCERT है नहीं जो environment के लिए है specifically, right? So there are some chapters that we will have to borrow from biology NCERT and geography NCERT for environment and ecology, right? So there are some chapters in biology NCERT of 12th class, last 4 chapters, and they cater to our subject of environment and ecology. Similarly, there is one chapter in geography NCERT of 11th standard that we will also be discussing in our classroom. ठीक है, जो discussion होगा that would be based on those chapters mentioned in biology and geography NCERT, right? So let us start. Now I consider that, so let me ask you one question. How many means what is the background in which you have pursued your graduation, or in which, let's say, subject you are taking your graduation right now? Yes, Kaveri, that is true. So please tell me your graduation subject, graduation stream, so that I'll be able to make sense I'll be able to make sense for you to this subject, right? So please tell me the background. आप लोगों का background, educational background किस stream में है? Fine, ठीक है. हर्षित BA, ठीक है. Economics आशीष, fine. History honors, ठीक है. BTech electrical, ठीक, fine. Yes, even YouTube students, please tell your background. BA Sanskrit, ठीक है. BLLB, fine. Chemistry, ठीक. Bio in 12th, now BA, ठीक है. Geography, fine. BSc, Antara is doing BSc, ठीक है. Swapnil BA, ठीक है. Okay, so fine. So I got the idea. So there are students from BA background. There are students from some students are there from science background as well. Fine, that is not the issue now. So let me tell you one point. We will be starting with this subject, and this subject is environment and ecology. Environment and ecology. So as name suggests, as name sounds, it has some links with science. It has some link with science, or to be more precise, it has some link with biology. ठीक है? Ecology is considered as a branch of biology, right? Ecology is considered as a branch of biology. Okay, so that point you should be aware of, that this subject has some technical terminologies that you will be coming across. Fine. So please make sure you write down the things that I mention on the digital board. ठीक है. So don't worry about the let's say your background, even if it is there in some humanities, even if it is some technical background like let's say engineering, you will be able to understand things that we will be discussing in today's class and in our further classes as well, right? So don't worry about that. Now I consider that you are freshers and you generally do not know much about environment and ecology for UPSC, for the PCS examination. So I consider that. So as you are fresh, let me introduce with the syllabus of this particular subject. Let me introduce you with the syllabus of this subject, because that is the most important thing that you should do when you start preparation of any new subject, right? Any new subject, you should be aware of that syllabus of that particular subject, right? So today in the initial part, we will be talking about the syllabus of this particular subject, wherein we will discuss the syllabus that UPSC has given for both pre as well as mains. So firstly, let us discuss about the syllabus. Firstly, let us discuss about the syllabus. ठीक है. Syllabus for firstly for prelims examination. Firstly for prelims examination. Syllabus for prelims examination. So what UPSC has mentioned in its syllabus for environment and ecology in prelims examination, right? They have mentioned that general issues on so in which topics these general issues are there. So first is general issues on first environmental ecology, general issues on environmental ecology, right? So in this particular point, you are supposed to study about the basics of ecology, right? Basics of ecology as a subject you are supposed to study in this particular topic, environmental ecology. And when you study the basics of ecology, your focus should be from the perspective of environment, right? From the perspective of environment, you have to study the basics of ecology. That is one. Fine. So that is what is mentioned in your syllabus. Second topic that has been mentioned under this is biodiversity. Second is biodiversity. Okay, biodiversity is the second topic that they have mentioned in your syllabus. Okay. Clear? So second topic is of biodiversity. Write down syllabus. First page of your notes should be dedicated to the syllabus, irrespective of the subject. Right? पहला पेज आपके syllabus का, आपके notebook का syllabus के लिए dedicated होना जरूरी है. What is ecology? Piyush, I have not discussed that term, so please wait. I'll be discussing. मैं सिर्फ syllabus discuss कर रहा हूँ अभी. So we will be starting with that term only. When we start discussion of our let's say a subject, we'll be starting with that term only. So please wait, Piyush. I'll be discussing that particular subject, that particular term with you. ठीक है? So third term that they have mentioned in your syllabus is climate change. Climate change. First term is environmental ecology, second is biodiversity, and third is climate change. Right? So climate change, we are living in the era of climate change, and that's why you should be aware of, being the aspirant of UPSC, you should be aware of what exactly do we mean by climate change. उससे होता क्या है, उसके causes क्या है, उसका solution क्या है, गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रहा है, इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे कौन सी स्टेप्स ली जा रही है, that you should be aware of under climate change. ठीक है? Climate change, food, fine, we are coming to that, Anchal. ठीक है? So that is what is mentioned in your prelim syllabus. और इसके अलावा एक line भी mentioned है, and that line is general issues on environmental ecology, biodiversity, climate change that do not require that do not require subject specialization. That do not require subject specialization. That is what is the syllabus that UPSC has given for the prelims examination. Fine. General issues on environmental ecology, biodiversity and climate change. And last में mentioned है that do not require subject specialization, right? So you do not have to have, let's say, graduation degree for these topics. You have to study these topics from the general perspective, right? आपको general perspective में ये topics पढ़ने हैं because the environmental ecology is a part of subject called as general studies, right? General studies का एक sub subject है environmental ecology, and that's why you have to study environment and ecology from the perspective of, let's say, general studies. आपको specialization की जरूरत नहीं है, ऐसा खुद कौन बोल रहा है? UPSC का syllabus बोल रहा है. Clear? So that is the syllabus for for prelims. Now mains के लिए क्या syllabus है? Write down these things. I hope you are writing. Everyone, are you writing these things? Make sure you write the syllabus. Same syllabus for BPSC. I hope yes, that is the same syllabus for BPSC. पर कोई minor change होगा तो I'm not exactly aware of that. But yes, generally it is same for BPSC and even for UPPCS as well. ठीक है? So please write down. I hope you are writing the syllabus. हाँ या ना? Yes, fine. Mains now. Second, mains के लिए क्या syllabus? So you must be aware in mains how many papers are there? How many papers are there in mains? Total 4 general studies paper are there, right? Total 4 general studies papers are there in your mains examination. GS 1, 2, 3 and 4. This particular subject of environment and ecology is mentioned in your general studies paper 3. Environment and ecology जनरल स्टडीज पेपर 3 का पार्ट है. ठीक है? सो मेंस में एनवायरमेंट एंड इकोलॉजी के सिलेबस में क्या मेंशन्ड है? सो दे हैव मेंशन्ड अबाउट कंजर्वेशन. They have mentioned about conservation, right? Conservation is the term that they have given in the syllabus. Next term that they have given is environmental pollution. Environmental pollution and degradation. And degradation. Environmental pollution and degradation. That is what is mentioned in your syllabus. ठीक है? And lastly, write down, please write down these terms, this syllabus you should have in your notes. Lastly, environment impact assessment. Environment impact assessment. Environment impact assessment. So that is what is the syllabus that UPSC has given, right? So make sure you write down the syllabus. ठीक है? Environment impact assessment, जिसे it is abbreviated as EIA. Abbreviated as EIA. Fine. So that is what is given in your mains syllabus. Fine. Now, one point I would like to clarify here is that, see, if you see the syllabus of mains, they have mentioned about conservation, right? Conservation. But generally, conservation of what? Conservation is related to the topic that they have mentioned in your pre-syllabus, conservation of biodiversity. And that's why this conservation we should study with biodiversity, right? Biodiversity and its conservation is the topic, right? Should be the topic that we study. लेकिन syllabus में ऐसे दिया है, syllabus में ऐसे दिया है, but when we study biodiversity, we will also be studying conservation of biodiversity as well. Fine. So that is what is the syllabus. Clear है syllabus सबको? right? I have not discussed any term here. I have not discussed any term here. I have just highlighted the syllabus, and I hope you have written that syllabus in your notes. How much time this particular syllabus of environment we covered? See, we are discussing only about NCERT, right? I will be restricting myself to the preparation of NCERT in this session, in this let's say program, and that's why around let's say 8 to 10 classes we will be taking for environment and ecology NCERT. ठीक है? All clear, fine. विवेक, वेट, टाइगर रिजर्व्स वगैरह वो सारी चीजें हम देखेंगे स्लोली एंड स्टेडीली. ठीक है? सो लेट अस स्टार्ट नाउ. सो now let us start with the discussion. Environment and ecology. Now let me tell you one more thing before proceeding. This course is related to NCERT. This course is related to NCERT, right? Can you please tell me which NCERT is there for environment and ecology per se? Means, is there any environment and ecology NCERT that you have ever come across? No, there is no NCERT for environment and ecology per se. मतलब उस टॉपिक के लिए आपको ऐसे सेपरेटली let's say NCERT देखने को नहीं मिलेगी. You may come across NCERTs of history, economy, polity, geography and all, but you hardly see NCERT for environment and ecology. Fine. So what we have to do? There are two subjects, biology and geography. These two subjects have their NCERTs. For example, बायोलॉजी की एक एनसीईआरटी है 12th class. In that 12th class NCERT of biology, last four chapters are related to our subject. Last four chapters of biology 12th class are related to our subject, and those four chapters we will be discussing. That would be the prime source of our discussion in the course of our classes, right? हमारा prime source क्या होगा discussion का? ये 4 chapters जो 12th class biology के NCERT में mentioned है. Fine. So that is what is important aspect. Now, apart from that biology NCERT, geography 11th class NCERT is also there. Geography 11th class NCERT is also there, right? In that geography 11th class NCERT, one chapter is there, and that chapter we will be discussing in our classroom. Okay? So total 5 chapters we will be discussing, but our core focus would be on these 4 chapters of biology NCERT 12th class. Clear everyone? You should be aware कि हम क्या पढ़ने वाले हैं, right? हम लोग biology 12th class लास्ट 4 चैप्टर्स पढ़ने वाले हैं, एंड 11th क्लास में एक चैप्टर है टुवर्ड्स द एंड, अगेन दैट चैप्टर इज नेचुरल वेजिटेशन. वो हम पढ़ेंगे हमारे इस कोर्स में, राइट? सो टोटल दीज चैप्टर्स विल बी कवरिंग रिलेटेड टू एनवायरमेंट एंड इकोलॉजी. क्लियर एवरीवन? सो थोड़ा सा कमेंट्स करते रहिए सो दैट आई विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट यस यू आर देयर, यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग थिंग्स दैट आई एम टेलिंग यू. NCERT class 11 biology, नहीं 12th class, Vivek, it is 12th class, yes. How to decode in environment syllabus, sir? One topic are these topics. So see, decoding of syllabus I think we should not do right now, right? क्योंकि अगर मैं decoding start करूँगा of the syllabus, it would take, let's say, it would confuse you more. Why? Because the decoding will need some important terms that to be discussed with you. But you being very fresh, I should not discuss decoding of the syllabus with you, right? Generally, मैं foundation की क्लास जो लेता हूँ, जनरल नॉट NCERT क्लास जो रेगुलर क्लास होती है, उसमें मैं सिलेबस डिस्कस करने के बाद डिकोडिंग ऑफ द सिलेबस मैं करता हूँ. पर यहाँ पे यू बीइंग वेरी फ्रेश, आई डोंट वांट टू डिकोड द सिलेबस, क्योंकि बहुत सारे अलग अलग टर्म्स मुझे डिस्कस करने पड़ेंगे, विच राइट नाउ इज नॉट लेट्स से एडवाइजेबल टू डिस्कस विथ यू स्टूडेंट्स. ठीक है, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द टॉपिक डायरेक्टली. क्लियर? सो दैट इज व्हाट इज द कोर्स ऑफ आवर सिलेबस that will be discussed with you in the course of our discussion in this particular session. Let us start with the first topic, and that is organisms. Organisms and population. Organisms and population is the topic, right? Topic का नाम क्या है? Organisms and population. ये कौन से एनसीईआरटी का टॉपिक है? 12th क्लास बायोलॉजी एनसीईआरटी. ठीक है, 12th क्लास बायोलॉजी एनसीईआरटी का ये पार्ट है. No, class will be at 12:15, right? Rita, class will be at 12:15 daily, right? जब तक ये सिलेबस कवर नहीं हो जाता है 12:15 क्लास होगा. And as far as environment and ecology is concerned, it is 12:15, 12:15 बजे. ठीक है. So chapter is organisms and population. It is mentioned in 12th class biology NCERT. Now before we discuss this particular organism and population terms, you should be aware कि what exactly do we mean by environment and ecology. ये क्या होता है, ये सबसे पहले आपको जानना जरूरी है. What exactly do we mean by environment and what exactly do we mean by ecology, because those are the terms that are used in our syllabus. So let us try to understand what exactly is environment. Now write down these things as I write on the board. Environment is the surrounding. Environment is the surrounding in which living organisms live. Surrounding in which living organisms live. ठीक है? Environment is the surrounding in which living organisms live. For example, you can imagine a tiger. Right? Tiger lives in a forest, right? So in that forest, it has, let's say water bodies would be there, plants would be there, grasses would be there. So all that constitutes the surrounding, and all those things are part of environment of that particular tiger, right? Even right now, let's say you are sitting in your room, right? Let's say you are sitting in your room. तो आपके रूम में जो चीजें हैं, they are there in the surrounding of you, and that's why all those things are a part of environment that let's say that is there around you. So surrounding of a particular organism is considered as its environment. ठीक है? Now we took the example of tiger. Tiger has, let's say, different parts, different organisms, plants, animals, even water, air, soil, sunlight in the vicinity of that particular tiger. So all those components constitute the surrounding of that particular tiger. ठीक है? Now this surrounding of that tiger consists of, क्या क्या होता है उस surrounding में? Can you please tell me what all is there in the surrounding of that particular tiger? Right? Imagine कीजिए tiger, right? Tiger in forest. Can you please tell me that tiger in forest, it consists of which of the things? उसके आजू बाजू में क्या होता है, बताइए. Right? Yes. Tell me what is there in the vicinity of that particular tiger. Yes, all students. ठीक है. आप Harshit is saying, Nandini is saying forest, trees, grasses. Harshit is saying grasses, ponds, forest, river, birds, ठीक है, grasslands, ठीक है. So let us write, these things are true. So all these things are there. So we can say that trees are there. Trees are there in the vicinity. किसी ने birds भी कहा है, right? So birds are there. Tiger का prey भी होगा. Prey, let's say deers. Deers are there. राइट। ग्रासेस किसी ने कहा है, ठीक है, ग्रासेस भी होंगे, राइट, जो हमें दिख नहीं रहा है बट स्टिल दे आर प्रेजेंट। माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स भी होंगे, राइट, माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स भी होंगे वहां पे, ठीक है, ये सारी चीजें हैं। फिर किसी ने केव्स कहा है, ठीक है, केव्स वुड बी देयर, राइट। देन सम ऑफ यू हैव सेड वाटर, वाटर है, राइट। सॉइल होगी यहां पे, यस। Sangir Alam, I'm speaking in Hindi as well sometimes. Caves, water is there, soil would also be there, right? And oxygen, right? Oxygen, atmospheric gases. Instead of writing only oxygen, I write atmospheric gases. Atmospheric gases. Fine. So all these things are there in the surrounding of the organism. Right, surrounding of organism consists of this and this as well. Surrounding of that particular tiger consists of this and this as well. और कुछ components हो सकते हैं, आप यहाँ पे sunlight भी ऐड कर सकते हैं, right, sunlight भी है, ठीक है, fine. Now इन दो circles को अगर आप ठीक से देखेंगे, if you see these circles, if you see these, let's say two sections, you will find that there is a common aspect of components mentioned in this and common aspect mentioned in this particular circle. Can you please tell me what is the common aspect of these things and what is the common aspect of these things? Can we say environment is natural? No, it is not natural always, right? For example, you must have heard about Vanatara, right? Is it natural entirely? No, it is not natural entirely. It has some, let's say, influence of human beings as well, right? So environment generally is natural, but environment can have the influence of human beings as well, right? किसी भी zoo को हम उस organism का environment कहेंगे, but zoo natural होते हैं क्या? नहीं, zoos are human made, right? Yes, ठीक है. So yes, if you see these things are living organisms. These things are living organisms. And if you see this, these are non-living components. Non-living components. Fine, living components, living organisms and non-living components are mentioned in these two circles. ठीक है. Firstly, that indicate all forestry parts, and secondly, needs of animals and surroundings. So थोड़ा सा reframe कीजिए कावेरी. I'm not able to understand what you want to say. ठीक है. So here we have living organisms and here we have non-living components. In terms of environment, these are called as biotic components. Biotic components, and these are referred as abiotic components, right? Living organisms को हम environment के context में क्या कहते हैं? Biotic components, and non-living components को environment के context में हम कहते हैं abiotic components, right? So surrounding of organism consists of biotic components and abiotic components. Write down these things. Towards the end, we will define environment. अभी हमने environment define नहीं किया है, but towards the end we will define the term of environment. अभी हम सिर्फ build कर रहे हैं कि उस definition में क्या क्या चीजें हो सकती है, ठीक है. I hope you are able to understand these things. Now, one more question. These things जो हमने इन सर्कल्स में डाली है, these things, is there any interaction going on between this circle and this circle, या दोनों आइसोलेशन में रहते हैं? दोनों आइसोलेशन में रहते हैं या there is interaction going on between this circle and this circle? Can you please tell me? Yes. Is there any interaction going on between these two circles, और ये दोनों अलग अलग रह सकते हैं? Yes, students. Interaction is there. Yes, interaction is there. Fine. Biotic components need abiotic components. So that means interaction is there, right, Piyush? There are altogether interaction in happening. ठीक है. Yes, Swapnil. Initially it would be same. ठीक है. Both have interaction, right? So environment की definition, Swapnil, environment की definition अलग अलग तो नहीं पढ़ा सकता हूँ foundation में and NCERT class में, right? It has to be same, right? So yes, there is interaction going on between these two. There is interaction going on between these two. ठीक है? So biotic and abiotic components that are present in the environment are carrying out interaction between them. They are carrying out interaction between them. Fine. So now let us define the term environment. Let us define the term environment. So let us define the term environment. Definition. Now you can write down this definition of environment. It is the surrounding of living organisms, is surrounding of living organism that consist of biotic and abiotic components, that consist of biotic and abiotic components that have a dynamic interrelationship between them. That have a dynamic interrelationship between them. That have a dynamic interrelationship between them. ठीक है? So there is an organism, and that organism has a surrounding. That surrounding consists of biotic components and abiotic components, and these biotic and abiotic components share a dynamic interrelationship between them. That means there is interaction going on between these organisms. Dynamic, what do we mean by dynamic? Dynamic, what do we mean by this term dynamic? Dynamic means the changing interrelationship. For example, these components that we have marked here in these circles, do they remain same or do they keep on changing? For example, number of deers. किसी भी फॉरेस्ट में डियर्स का नंबर सेम रहेगा या चेंज होता रहेगा? It would keep on changing, right? Similarly, the availability of water, the availability of, let's say, sunlight, atmospheric gases, soil, and let's say shelter of the organism, it would also keep on changing, right? So these components that form environment, they keep on changing. And as they keep on changing, the relationship between these components is a dynamic interrelationship. वो static interrelationship नहीं है. It may be the case that tomorrow the interrelationship would change, right? For example, right now, let's say the tiger is taking its water from a pond. But tomorrow, if water is not available from pond, then it will have to look for some other resource of water. And that's why we can say that the relationship shared by biotic and abiotic components is a dynamic relationship. It keeps on changing, it keeps on evolving based upon the conditions. Clear? I hope it is clear, Piyush. Yes, it keeps on changing. Okay, so that is what is the definition of environment. I hope you have written this definition. I hope you have written this definition. Okay. One more point I would like to add here. Yes, you are correct. You are correct. You are correct. One more point I would like to add here is that, so we referred to the fact that there is, interaction going on between biotic components and abiotic components. हमने ये देखा कि biotic components और abiotic components आपस में interaction करते हैं, पर can you please tell me, based upon your general experience, based upon your observation of, let's say, nature, can you please tell me whether there is interaction going on between interaction going amongst the components of biotic components and interaction going on amongst the abiotic components themselves? उनमें खुद में अपने आप में इंटरेक्शन होता है क्या? इन कंपोनेंट्स में खुद में इंटरेक्शन होता है क्या? और इन कंपोनेंट्स में अपने आप में इंटरेक्शन होता है क्या? That is what I am trying to ask. Yes, Harshit, you are correct. Yes, there is interaction going on between these as well, right? ये जो components है उनमें अपने आप में interaction होता है, right? Because for example, birds get their nectar from trees. Let's say deers get their food from trees. Then deers also get their food from grasses, and microorganisms get their food from all these when they die. And that's why we can say that there is interrelation, there is interaction going on amongst the biotic components as well. Clear hai? Biotic components also interact amongst themselves. There is, yes, there is right, Ramjan, you are right. Yes. So there is. So simply put, biotic components have interaction amongst themselves. Now, is it the case with abiotic components as well? Do they interact amongst themselves? Yes, online students. Do they interact amongst themselves? Yes. For example, if sunlight is too intense, right, during summer season, sunlight is too intense sunlight. So as a result of that too intense sunlight, there will be more evaporational loss of water. And that's why we can say that yes, there is interaction going on between water and sunlight, right? Then if water is getting evaporated, that evaporation converts water from water to water vapor, and that water vapor would be added in the atmosphere. And that's why we can say that there is interaction between sunlight, water and atmospheric gas as well. That atmospheric gas in the form of, let's say, water vapor will ultimately undergo the process of condensation, and then there will be rainfall, there will be precipitation that would occur, and that precipitation would add water to soil. And that's why we can say that yes, there is interaction going on amongst abiotic components as well. Clear? So that is what is the definition of environment. I hope it is clear to you. One more point I would like to add here is that, see, if let's imagine, हमने ये डिस्कस किया कि ये सारे एक दूसरे के साथ इंटरैक्ट करते हैं, right? Let us imagine that this interaction amongst biotic and abiotic components stop. मान लेते हैं कि ये जो इंटरैक्शन हो रहा है इनका एक दूसरे के साथ, ये इंटरैक्शन स्टॉप हो गया. What will happen? What will happen if the interaction of biotic and abiotic components stop? Now that is what is the question. Please tell me. What will happen if the interaction between biotic and abiotic component stops? What will happen? Duration is 2 hours, Yuraj. Yes, can you please tell me if interaction between these two stops, what will happen? हाँ, it's better स्वप्निल अलग अलग बनाए तो, because NCERT will not be, let's say, it will be only for 8 to 10 classes. ठीक है, they will not survive, environment will get disturbed, no one will survive, death of living beings breaks the ecosystem, no one will survive. That's true, they can't survive, right. In case this interaction stops, survival of living organisms, survival of biotic organisms would be threatened, and that's why we can say that, that's why we can say that that's why we can say that this dynamic interrelationship. Now, one more point you can add here. This dynamic interrelationship is important for the survival of living organisms. This dynamic interrelationship is important for the survival of living organisms. If this interaction breaks, living organisms won't be able to survive. ठीक है, I hope it is clear to you. So with that we have discussed first term, and that is environment. Clear है? इसमें कुछ doubt होगा तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. Yes, ultimately, now seen, ultimately nothing would exist. If this interaction breaks, ultimately nothing would exist. उसका end result होगा कि there will be no life. ठीक है? So that is what is environment. Clear? Fine. Now there is second term as well. हम क्या discuss कर रहे हैं? I hope you are there. I hope you understood what we are discussing. So we started discussion of these two terms. पहले हमने environment इस term को discuss किया. Now we will be discussing about the term called as ecology. So let us discuss term ecology. So second term जो mentioned है हमारे subject में, subject के नाम में, that is ecology. Second term is ecology. Yes. So this particular term is made up of two words. It is made up of two words. First is oikos and second is logos. Oikos and logos. These are the two words that make term ecology. Logos means study of. Logos means study of. Oikos means home. Right? Oikos means home. So we can say that ecology is a scientific study. It is a scientific study. ठीक है? Of what? Scientific study of what? Scientific study of home of living organisms. Home of living organisms. But as we have already referred to, this home of living organisms is nothing but environment. Home of living organisms is nothing but environment. Clear? So home of living organisms is environment. ठीक है? So we can say that ecology is a scientific study of environment. साइंटिफिक स्टडी ऑफ एनवायरमेंट। ठीक है, क्लियर? क्लियर नहीं दिख रहा है? सो अदर स्टूडेंट्स ऑल्सो फेस सेम प्रॉब्लम? क्लियर नहीं दिख रहा है आप लोगों को? इज इट क्लियर और नॉट? अदर स्टूडेंट्स, आपको दिख रहा है क्लियर? क्लियर है, कुछ स्टूडेंट्स को क्लियर दिख रहा है। फाइन, इट मे बी द केस कि आपके एंड पे जो जिनको क्लियर नहीं दिख रहा है, आपके एंड में बफरिंग हो रहा होगा, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नॉट क्लियर at your end. Right. So for most of the students it's clear. So please, those students who are not able to see it clearly, make sure you come to a place where you have good network. Okay. So it is ecology is a scientific study of environment. Now this scientific study of environment under ecology as a subject we can carry out at different levels. Right, those levels are called as levels of ecological organization. So this can be done, this means this scientific study, this can be done at 6 different levels. Called levels of ecological organization. Levels of ecological organization. Right, at 6 different levels we can study the subject of ecology. Those levels are called as levels of ecological organization. कौन सी levels है वो? Let us try to understand. ठीक है, so now we will be moving towards our discussion of these levels of ecological organization, and when we discuss these levels of ecological organization you will understand that what we are going to discuss in this particular subject. ठीक है, so levels of ecological organization should be your next heading. Next heading should be levels of ecological organization. Levels of ecological organization. ठीक है, levels of ecological organization. So there are 6 levels of ecological organization. First is organism. First is organism, which is also considered as individual. Which is also considered as individual, organism या individual. ठीक है, now when we study organism और individual level, हमारा फोकस होगा एक सिंगल ऑर्गेनिज्म पर. Right, one single organism would be focused upon at the level of organism or individual. One single. I have not written tigers, right? I have just written tiger. So make sure you also write tiger. S नहीं ऐड करना है. अगर S ऐड करोगे तो वो एक सिंगल ऑर्गेनिज्म या इंडिविजुअल नहीं होगा. Right? So make sure you write it as tiger only. Right? Tiger. ठीक है? So that is one. Second, population. Second level is population. Maybe generally ये जो मैं लिख रहा हूं नंदिनी, that would be given to you, right? These things would be given to you. But मेरा सजेशन ये होगा कि आप नोट्स साथ में बनाएं, right? Make sure you write down these things when we study, because when you write it on your own you also let's say वो एक imprint आपके brain में हो जाता है. So make sure you write these things when we study, because we are going very slow, right? As these are NCERT classes, I am supposed to go very slow. So make sure you write those things as well, Nandini. ठीक है? So second is population. Now what is the example that we can write for population? Generally जब हम population की बात करते हैं, then we are talking about a group of individuals, right? For example, human population. Human population means what? Humans living in a particular area at a particular time would be considered together to understand human population, right? Human population means group of humans in a particular area. Same is the case with in the case of tigers. When we talk about population, we are talking about tigers living in a particular area, and that's why here you can write it as tigers. S अभी या add कर सकते हो आप लोग. You can add S now, because population is not of one particular individual. For population, you have to have many individuals. ठीक है. In that case, Nandini, you will be getting online, let's say, recorded classes. Recorded classes आपको मिल जाएगी. If you, in case you miss the class, you will be getting a recorded class. ठीक है? So tigers, add S now, right? S, fine. So population consists of individuals, many individuals of a particular type, right? इसीलिए हमने tigers लिखा है यहाँ पे. Now third. Now if you notice these two terms, organism, if you notice these two terms, organism and population, ये क्या है? ये हमारे चैप्टर का हेडिंग है. If you see the name of chapter, what is the name of chapter? Name of chapter is organisms and population. So हमारे चैप्टर का हेडिंग organism and population है. That means in this particular chapter, in the first chapter mentioned in your biology NCERT, we are going to study about first two levels of ecological organization. First two levels of ecological organization would be studied with you when we study let's say organisms and organisms and population. ठीक है? हाँ रोहन, आप बहुत लेट चल रहे हो शायद. इकोसिस्टम विल बी डिस्ट्रॉयड, ये मैंने वो इंटर रिलेशनशिप के बारे में पूछा था, right? Maybe you have started the let's say recorded class. ठीक है, fine. Hello. ठीक. Next now, third level. Third level is community. Third level is community, right? Third level at which we can study this particular subject is community. Third level at which we can study this subject is community. Now what we include in community? Community में क्या होता है? Now when we talk about community, community consists of populations of different living organisms. For example, यहाँ पे tiger है, right? So tiger, यहाँ पे tigers है, so tigers हम लिखते हैं. But at the same time, tiger सिर्फ tigers community form नहीं करेंगे. When we talk about, let's say, tiger का prey, deers, when we talk about grasses on which deers are dependent upon, then we can say that we are talking about a community. Community is a group of individuals belonging to different species, right? ये definition हम बाद में लिखेंगे. अभी सिर्फ मैं आपको ये levels के नाम बता रहा हूं. Third level is community. Clear है यहां तक? Are you there with me? Are you able to understand these points? ठीक है, fine. Next now. Next is fourth level is ecosystem. Fourth level is of ecosystem. Fourth level is of ecosystem. Fine. Fourth level is of ecosystem. So population you want me to explain? See, population, let us explain population. When we refer to term individual, we talked about one particular tiger, एक tiger. Now ऐसा तो नहीं है, मान लेते ये एक जंगल है, right? Let's say this is forest. ऐसा तो नहीं होगा कि उस फॉरेस्ट में सिर्फ एक ही टाइगर होगा, राइट? फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से वी टॉक अबाउट फॉरेस्ट इन मध्य प्रदेश. मध्य प्रदेश के फॉरेस्ट में लगभग 750 से ज्यादा टाइगर्स है, राइट? तो ऐसे में हम इस फॉरेस्ट में ऐसा कंसिडर कर सकते हैं कि लेट्स से 4 टाइगर्स है, ठीक है? अगर हम इन टाइगर्स को इंडिविजुअली देखेंगे तो दैट इज वन सिंगल इंडिविजुअल टाइगर. बट इफ वी टॉक अबाउट टाइगर एज ए स्पीशीज, इट फॉर्म्स ए population of tigers, right? When we take into account individuals, many individuals belonging to same species together, that forms population. Clear hai Nausin? Population is a group of individuals that belong to same species. ये टाइगर सारे एक स्पीशीज के ही है. उनको जब हम कलेक्टिवली कंसिडर करेंगे, that would form the population of tigers. ठीक है? Now, so we refer to fourth level, and that fourth level is ecosystem. Fourth level is ecosystem. Now, if you ऑब्जर्व कीजिए, ऑर्गेनिज्म में हमने रेफर किया सिर्फ एक टाइगर को, पॉपुलेशन में हमने रेफर किया बहुत सारे टाइगर्स को, कम्युनिटी में हमने रेफर किया not only tigers, we also refer to deers, we also refer to grasses. If you see all these three levels, you will understand that all these three levels, like individual, population, community, they discuss only about living organisms, they only discuss about biotic components. Clear है? ये 3 लेवल सिर्फ बायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स को ही डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. So there is a doubt, what do we mean by organism? Organism means a particular living organism, right? A particular living individual. किसी भी living organism को organism कहेंगे, right? Organism मतलब क्या? कोई भी, for example, if we talk about human beings, then any one individual of that particular species of human beings will be considered as organism. ठीक है? So that is what is organism, Ramzan. So these three levels only talked about biotic components. Now here in ecosystem, we not only take into account biotic components, we also take into account abiotic components. So example क्या होगा? Biotic components and abiotic components. Biotic components and abiotic components. ठीक है? So in ecosystem we take into account biotic and abiotic components both. ठीक है? If you focus on these 4 terms, is it not the case that scope of study is getting broadened at every level? Scope of our study, ecology हम पढ़ रहे ecology. Ecology is a scientific study of environment, and at all levels of ecological organization, scope of study is getting broadened. ठीक है? Scope of study is getting broadened. ठीक है? So in ecosystem we study biotic and abiotic components, and we have already discussed that these two components cannot live in isolation. They live together, and that's why we also have to study interaction of these components when we study ecosystem. When we study ecosystem, we have to take into account biotic components as well as abiotic components and their interaction. Clear है? So that is what is the level of ecosystem. अभी मैं सिर्फ आपको ये terms बता रहा हूं, we are not discussing them in detail. I'm just referring to these levels right now. When we start these levels, we will be discussing them in detail. ठीक है, इन डिटेल, और जो भी आपके एनसीईआरटी में रेफर किया गया है वो हम सारा डिस्कस करेंगे. ठीक, so that is what is the fourth level. Next level is fifth one, and that is biomes. ठीक है. Now what is left? हमने बायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स ले लिए, एबायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स ले लिए, उनका इंटरैक्शन ले लिया. नाउ व्हाट इज लेफ्ट? देयर इज नथिंग दैट इज लेफ्ट नाउ, राइट? अगर हम एनवायरनमेंट की बात करेंगे, एनवायरनमेंट में बायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स है, एबायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स है और उनका इंटरैक्शन है. सो व्हेन वी स्टडी इकोसिस्टम, वी आर नॉट लेफ्ट विथ एनी कंपोनेंट ऑफ द एनवायरनमेंट, and that's why we can say that ecosystem studies environment in a holistic manner. Ecosystem studies environment in a holistic manner, right? पर हमने ये भी कहा है, हमने ये भी रेफर किया है कि जो स्कोप है लेवल्स ऑफ इकोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, जो स्कोप है वो ब्रॉड होते जा रहा है, राइट? नाउ देयर इज नो स्कोप हियर टू गेट ब्रॉडन्ड विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू कंपोनेंट्स हो गए सारे, बायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स हो गए, एबायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स हो गए और उनका इंटरैक्शन भी हो गया है. नाउ व्हाट इंक्रीजेस, अगर हमें स्कोप ब्रॉडन करना है तो यहां पे बायोम्स में क्या इंक्रीज होता है? बायोम्स में एरिया इंक्रीज होता है, राइट? इन बायोम्स व्हाट गेट्स ब्रॉडन्ड इज द एरिया ऑफ स्टडी. इकोसिस्टम एक छोटी सी इकोसिस्टम हो सकती है, एक छोटा सा एरिया हो सकता है, बट बायोम कंसिस्ट ऑफ many ecosystems in it. Clear? So biomes, example, let's say this is biome which consists of ecosystem 1, ecosystem 2 and ecosystem 3. ठीक है, वन सिंगल बायोम कंसिस्ट ऑफ मेनी इकोसिस्टम. ये पॉइंट क्लियर है या नहीं, आप बताइए. प्लीज टेल मी, हैव यू अंडरस्टूड दिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट और नॉट? प्लीज. Got it, everyone? Fine. Good. Fine. So that is the fifth level of ecological organization. And the last level is biosphere. Last level क्या है? बायोस्फीयर. बायोम्स नॉट क्लियर, ठीक है. क्लास विल बी फॉर 2 hours, Ramzan. Class will be for 2 hours, right? 2 hours only, right? Just a minute, let me check. Yes, class is for 2 hours. Ramzan. Biomes not clear. Fine, no problem. I'll explain biomes once more. See, आपको ये पॉइंट तो समझ में आ गया कि इकोसिस्टम में हमने बायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स ले लिए, एबायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स ले लिए और उनका इंटरैक्शन ले लिया, राइट? So we study in ecosystem, we study biotic, abiotic components and their interaction as well. Now what is left? Nothing is left. राइट? एनवायरमेंट की अगर डेफिनेशन अगर आप सोचोगे दैट वी हैव रेफर्ड टू, नथिंग इज लेफ्ट बिकॉज एनवायरमेंट कंसिस्ट ऑफ बायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स, एबायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स एंड देयर इंटररिलेशनशिप, दैट इज नथिंग बट इंटरैक्शन. ठीक है. नाउ इफ वी आर सेइंग दैट एट एवरी लेवल ऑफ इकोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, हम पढ़ क्या रहे हैं? हम पढ़ रहे हैं levels of ecological organization, and I told you that at every level scope is getting broadened. पहले हम सिर्फ एक टाइगर पे फोकस कर रहे थे, फिर many tigers, then not only tigers but other species as well, and then in ecosystem not only biotic components but also abiotic components and their interaction. So if we think from that perspective, right now for biomes there is nothing left from our study, right? Because in ecosystem we study both biotic and abiotic components as well as their interaction, and that's why at the level of biomes nothing is left. So what we need to do in order to broaden the scope, we'll have to increase the area. Fine. And that's why biomes, when we study biomes, we study larger area than the area that we have studied for ecosystem. Ecosystem एक छोटा एरिया होता है, biomes एक बहुत बड़ा एरिया होता है जो हम पढ़ते हैं, and that's why at the level of biomes as well the scope is getting broadened. Clear? How in biomes, how the ecosystem is different from ecosystem 1 is different from ecosystem 2, that we will discuss later, right? Just to address your doubt, Mohit, I can tell you that एक फॉरेस्ट इमेजिन कीजिए, उस फॉरेस्ट में ऐसा होता है कि सिर्फ ट्रीज है, उस फॉरेस्ट में किसी एक पार्ट में ग्रासेस आपको देखने को मिल सकते हैं मोहित, उस फॉरेस्ट में आपको किसी एक पार्ट में लेक देखने को मिल सकता है, उस फॉरेस्ट में कोई नदी, कोई रिवर आपको देखने को मिल सकती है. यस और नो मोहित? Right? That forest is not forest only, it also has grasses, it may also have pond, it may also have river, right? And that's why we can say that when we talk about biome as a whole, it will have different ecosystems like grassland ecosystem, like forest ecosystem, like aquatic ecosystem, river ecosystem, like that. Fine. So ecosystem one differs from other from the type. वो धीरे धीरे हम पढ़ेंगे, अभी सिर्फ इकोसिस्टम 1 एंड इकोसिस्टम 2 विल सफाइस. ठीक है. सो आई होप वंशिका इट इज क्लियर. व्हाट यू वांट मी टू रिपीट? आई होप इट इज क्लियर. मैंने रिपीट कर दिया है. आई कुड नॉट सी योर कमेंट. अगेन बायोम्स, ठीक है. ऑनलाइन इवन यूट्यूब स्टूडेंट वांट मी टू डिस्कस बायोम्स. ठीक है. लेट अस टेक एन एग्जांपल. ठीक है. ये एक फॉरेस्ट है ऐसा मानते हैं. Now when we study ecosystem, now firstly in order to understand biomes I need to refer to ecosystem. Now when we study ecosystem, forest ecosystem, in that forest ecosystem let's say trees are there, animals are there, right? Trees, animals are there, and उस forest में water है and soil है. ठीक है. Water, instead of water I'll write pond and soil. ठीक है. So these things would be there in that particular forest, and we also know that they are interacting, right? मान लेते हैं this is ecosystem 1. मान लेते हैं this is ecosystem 1. ठीक है. This is ecosystem 1. Clear? Now in that forest, can we say that apart from trees some grasses would be there? Right? Apart from trees some grasses would be there. These grasses will have, let's say, their own animals. Let's say those animals are in the form of insects. Right? Imagine करते हैं हम कि insects होंगे वहां पे. ठीक. फिर उन grasses में से हम मान लेते हैं कोई river flow हो रही है. Right? River is flowing from those grasses, and those grasses also have their own specific type of soil. ठीक है, सो इसे हम मानते हैं, इसे हम मान लेते हैं इकोसिस्टम 2, इसे हम मान लेते हैं इकोसिस्टम 2। क्लियर, इसे मानते हैं इकोसिस्टम 2। नाउ when we study these two together, when we study these two together, that level of our study is called as biomes. That level of our study is called as biomes. ठीक है, फाइन, आई होप इट इज क्लियर। बायोम्स क्लियर है। आंचल आपने पूछा था, प्लीज डिस्कस बायोम्स once more, and I think वंशिका also had that doubt। वंशिका, आई होप इट इज क्लियर। बायोम्स क्या है, बायोम्स में क्या बढ़ रहा है, बायोम्स में एरिया बढ़ रहा है। जब हम इकोसिस्टम डिस्कस करते हैं, हम ये इकोसिस्टम इंडिविजुअली डिस्कस करते हैं, बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट बायोम, वी टेक इकोसिस्टम्स टुगेदर, we take this ecosystem 1 and 2 together in order to study biomes. I hope it is clear to you. ठीक है, now coming back to our levels of ecological organization, last level है biosphere. Last level is biosphere. Here also, in biosphere also, there is increase in the scope of area. एरिया बढ़ता है यहाँ पे, राइट। आई होप यू मस्ट बी अवेयर कि बायोस्फीयर होता क्या है, क्योंकि ये बहुत बेसिक टर्म है दैट यू मस्ट हैव स्टडीड इन योर स्कूल डेज। बायोस्फीयर क्या होता है? इट इज इंटरैक्शन बिटवीन ठीक है, सो दिस पर्टिकुलर पार्ट is referred as biomes. Biomes is this, fine। लेकिन ये सर्कल्स क्या है? ये है एटमॉस्फेयर, ये है लिथोस्फीयर, एंड ये है हाइड्रोस्फीयर। हाइड्रोस्फीयर, fine। So that is biosphere. What is biosphere? Biosphere is an area of interaction between hydrosphere, lithosphere and atmosphere, and in this particular area, why it is called as biosphere? Because in this particular area we have presence of life exists in biosphere। ठीक है, yes, later we will be discussing, yes Ashutosh, definition of every level we will discuss one by one। ये जो चैप्टर हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं उसका नाम है ऑर्गेनिज्म एंड पॉपुलेशन। तो अभी हम सिर्फ ऑर्गेनिज्म और पॉपुलेशन के डेफिनेशंस या उनके एस्पेक्ट्स पे फोकस करेंगे। वंस वी स्टार्ट डिस्कशन ऑफ लेट्स से ecosystem, I will write the definition of ecosystem। once we discuss biomes, I will write the definition of biomes as well। अभी सिर्फ मैं आपको लेवल्स समझा रहा हूं जिसके बेसिस पे हमें हमारे चैप्टर्स डिस्कस करने हैं आगे जाके। क्लियर? सो बायोस्फीयर इज द पॉइंट ऑफ इंटरैक्शन बिटवीन हाइड्रोस्फीयर, लिथोस्फीयर एंड एटमॉस्फेयर वेयर लाइफ एग्जिस्ट्स। ठीक है, सो दैट इज व्हाट इज, दीज आर दी 6 लेवल्स ऑफ इकोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जिसके बेसिस पे हम हमारा सब्जेक्ट पढ़ सकते हैं, राइट। विच आर दोज लेवल्स? फर्स्ट इज ऑर्गेनिज्म, उसे इंडिविजुअल भी कहते हैं ऑर्गेनिज्म। सेकेंड इज पॉपुलेशन, थर्ड इज कम्युनिटी, नेक्स्ट इज इकोसिस्टम, नेक्स्ट इज बायोम्स एंड नेक्स्ट इज बायोस्फीयर। ठीक है, एट ऑल दीज 6 levels we carry out our study of ecology, and at all these 6 levels scope of our study gets broadened। Clear? Next, now let us, so ये 6 levels है, लेकिन हमारा जो पहला चैप्टर है जो एनसीईआरटी में दिया है that only focuses on these 2 levels। so let us discuss about the organism and population level in detail। Let us start firstly with organism. So next heading आप दे सकते हैं organism. Organism. So definition, what exactly do we mean by organism? What exactly do we mean by organism? One particular individual of a species is called organism. One particular individual of a species is called organism. Example तो हमने पहले ही लिख लिया है. Example is tiger, not tigers. One tiger, एक single tiger. ठीक है? So that is what is organism. Right? You can write your other examples if you want, but tiger is famous example. ठीक है? That is what is the definition of organism. Now, see, when this organism is carrying out its life processes, when this organism is carrying out its life processes, this organism is influenced by certain abiotic components. This organism is influenced by certain abiotic components. So this organism, whenever it carries out its life processes, it is influenced by, it is dependent upon four important abiotic components. Which are those four important components? पहले हम सिर्फ लिस्ट करते हैं and then we will try to understand what is the importance of those four abiotic components. Firstly, just we will be listing these components. So those four abiotic components that play an important role in determining how a particular organism will be carrying out its life are: first is temperature, second is water, third is light. When we say light, it is nothing but sunlight. And then lastly, soil. ठीक है? So that is what are the four abiotic components that have their influence on the living organism's life. ठीक है? So ये organism जो भी processes carry out करेगा, those processes will be dependent on these four abiotic components. Is bacteria and virus is organism? Bacteria is organism, Ashutosh. Virus is not. Right? Virus is on the verge of, on the boundary of living and non-living. Right? Virus is neither living nor non-living. ठीक है? Why not air? See, when we talk about, let's say, air, we are including its component. जब हम water की बात करते हैं, it is not only water in the liquid form, it is also water vapor, right? When we talk about temperature also has its influence on air and its availability of, let's say, or density of air. So air को हम indirectly refer कर रहे हैं, it is not referred to directly. Right? Air को हम indirectly refer कर रहे हैं, it is not referred to directly. Air is important, but again, Mohit, as we are discussing NCERT, I will be discussing the components that are referred to in NCERT. ठीक है? Air important है, I accept that, because the availability of oxygen is from air, but your NCERT talks about these 4 components, but still air is important. अभी हम ये जो बैच हमारा चल रहा है, this is of NCERT batch, right? And that's why these are the 4 factors that are mentioned in your NCERT, and hence we are focusing on those factors. ठीक है? So temperature, water, light or sunlight and soil. These are the 4 factors that are key determinant of organisms' life. Fine. So let us take these components one by one and try to understand why these components, why these abiotic components play an important role in that organism's life. So firstly, temperature. Firstly, temperature. Why temperature is important for living organisms? Why temperature is important for living organisms? ठीक है, temperature. Temperature is important because it determines kinetics. It determines kinetics of enzymes. It determines kinetics of enzymes. Kinetics मतलब movement. Kinetics means movement. Flow. Kinetics means movement or flow. ठीक है? So flow of enzymes is dependent upon right temperature. अगर temperature सही होगा, then there will be smooth flow of enzymes within our body. If temperature is not favorable, then there might not be smooth flow of enzymes in our body. ठीक है, जो enzymes है, जो biochemicals है हमारे body में, उनका flow अगर properly होना है तो हमें appropriate temperature की जरूरत होगी. ठीक है, so that is one. Clear है ये kinetics of enzymes? Kinetics of enzymes means enzymes are biochemicals. Enzymes are biochemicals that are produced by our body, right? Sambhavi, enzymes are biochemicals that are produced by our body. ठीक है, they are biochemicals. Piyush, enzymes are biochemicals produced by our body. ठीक है, right? ठीक है. Now, so it determines kinetics of the enzymes. Flow of biochemicals, जो भी hormones है हमारे body में produce हो रहे हैं, वो एक जगह से दूसरे जगह ले जाने के लिए हमें appropriate temperature की आवश्यकता होती है, and that's why kinetics of enzymes is determined by the temperature. ठीक है, temperature supports life. ठीक है, आप कह सकते हैं, but that is very generalistic term, आशुतोष. Next now, second, it also determines, temperature also determines basal metabolism rate. Now थोड़े से technical terms हम refer कर रहे हैं, but these are there in your NCERT. You cannot escape from these terms. ठीक है, temperature also determines basal metabolism rate. Now what exactly do we mean by this? Basal metabolism. So try to understand. See, basal metabolism is the energy required for an organism to support its basic functions. Right? What is basal metabolism? It is the energy required by an organism It is the energy required by an organism to carry out its basic body functions. ठीक है, आप लिख लीजिए, मैं बता रहा हूं what exactly it is. Basal metabolism is the energy required by an organism to carry out its basic body functions. Right? मान लेते हैं, let's say you are sitting on a couch, or not even sitting, let's say you are sleeping in your home, right? You are sleeping in your room. Now जब आप सोते हो, when you are doing no activity, you are just sleeping, then also there is energy that is required by your body, right? अगर आप सोए भी हो, but still there is some work that is being done by your body. For example, heart beat हो रहा है, right? Then there is, let's say, circulation of blood that is being carried out, right? Then you are carrying out respiration, right? That means your lungs are also active. Then it may be the case your body is also carrying out the process of circulation, right? So circulation bhi carry out ho raha hai. Your body is also carrying out some, let's say, excretory work, right? जो toxic product आपके body में produce हुए हैं, वो segregate हो रहे हैं, वो separate हो रहे हैं through the process of excretion, right? So all these processes are being carried out despite the fact that you are sleeping in your room. इन सारे कामों के लिए, even digestion, yes, even digestion, इन सारे कामों के लिए, for all these basic body activities, our body needs energy. उस एनर्जी को, जो बेसिक बॉडी फंक्शंस कैरी आउट करने के लिए एनर्जी हमें चाहिए होगी, उस एनर्जी को हम कहते हैं बेसल मेटाबॉलिज्म, राइट? यस, इवन हीलिंग, फाइन, ठीक है, फाइन, कुछ दुख हुआ है तो उसको हील करने के लिए भी एनर्जी चाहिए, राइट, जस्ट किडिंग, फाइन. So yes, energy is required for all these basic functions, fine, and that energy is called as basal metabolism. Clear hai, right? Basal metabolism is the energy that is required to carry out basic functions. वो कितनी है, कितनी energy basal metabolism की energy है? Around 1600 kilocalories energy per day is the basal metabolism rate. ठीक है, अगर आप दिन भर सिर्फ सोते हो तो भी आपको 1600 किलो कैलोरीज एनर्जी चाहिए होगी. दैट्स व्हाई इवन इफ यू आर स्लीपिंग यू नीड फूड टू ईट. ठीक है, अगर कुछ काम कर रहे हो तो इससे ज्यादा एनर्जी लगेगी, राइट? यू विल नीड मोर एनर्जी इफ यू आर वर्किंग, इफ यू आर, लेट्स से, वॉकिंग, इफ यू आर स्टडिंग, देन यू विल नीड even more energy. But when you just relax, when you just do nothing, then also you need energy, and that is 1600 kilocalories per day, and that is what is basal metabolism rate. Clear? Now imagine a situation, summer situation है, summer की condition है, you will be sweating, right? Even if you are, let's say, sleeping, let's not consider कि उस रूम में AC है, right? आप सो रहे हो, फिर भी आप सो रहे हो and you are sweating because of the temperature. Now as sweating is another activity that is added to your, let's say, to your basic activities, it might be the case that you will need more energy than 1600 kilocalories. 1600 kilocalories से थोड़ी सी उस केस में आपको ज्यादा एनर्जी लगेगी. क्यों? क्योंकि आपकी स्वेटिंग भी हो रही है, राइट? इवन लेट्स से इन विंटर्स यू आर स्लीपिंग, बट विंटर्स में टेम्परेचर बहुत ज्यादा कम हो गया, यू आर शिवरिंग, राइट? you have used, let's say, your blanket and all, but still you are shivering. So in that case, shivering एक body activity है. In that case you will need more energy to carry out another function of shivering, and that's why in that case basal metabolism rate 1600 kilocalories से ज्यादा होगा. क्लियर है ये पॉइंट, राइट? अभी तक सब चीजें क्लियर है. हाउ टेम्परेचर इज कनेक्टेड विद बेसल मेटाबॉलिज्म. मोहित, आई एम कमिंग टू इट. द डिस्कशन, सी, लेट्स गो विद द क्लास, राइट? आई एम कमिंग टू दैट पॉइंट कि टेम्परेचर कैसे कनेक्टेड है, राइट? एंड दैट इज व्हाट आई हैव एक्सप्लेन, राइट? सो जब समर सीजन होता है, टेम्परेचर, सराउंडिंग टेम्परेचर बढ़ जाता है, एंड दैट एड्स टू वन एक्टिविटी, एंड दैट इज स्वेटिंग. When in winter season temperature falls, that adds to another activity, and that is shivering. So basal metabolism, जब आप कोई काम नहीं करते हो तो आपको जो एनर्जी चाहिए है वो एनर्जी इन्फ्लुएंस हो रही है based on temperature. In summer season, when temperature increase, you carry out sweating, your basal metabolism rate would increase. in winter season when you carry out shivering, your basal metabolism rate even increase, and it might be the case आपको 1600, मान लेते जब आप स्वेट कर रहे हो तो 1700 चाहिए होगी, स्वेटिंग में 1700 किलो कैलोरी चाहिए, पर जब आप शिवर करते हो इट माइट बी द केस आपको 2000 किलो कैलोरीज चाहिए होगी एनर्जी, right? So in winter season your basal metabolism is this, in summer season your basal metabolism is this. Clear? So this is the influence of temperature on basal metabolism. Clear hai? Ashutosh, relation between basal metabolism rate and temperature I have explained. I hope it is clear to you. ठीक है everyone? Mohit and Ashutosh, you asked doubt related to relation between temperature and basal metabolism. Please tell me, is it clear? These numbers I have just written to make you understand. These numbers may depend, right? So Nandini, what will be the rate? It will depend on how much sweating you are doing, how much is the temperature rise, how much let's say other work that you have done, right? So every person will have its different BMR, basal metabolism rate, right? ये कोई फिक्स नहीं होता है. जनरली वी कैन से दैट अगर कोई पर्सन एक्टिविटी नहीं करता है तो उसको जनरली इतनी एनर्जी लगेगी, बट इट माइट बी द केस किसी का बेसल मेटाबॉलिज्म ही 1800 होगा, राइट? इट वेरीज पर्सन टू पर्सन. बेसल मेटाबॉलिज्म 1600 किलो कैलोरीज से कम हो सकता है, हो सकता है when that person is, when that animal, when that organism is carrying out hibernation, right? When that organism is carrying out hibernation, basal metabolism falls. ठीक है? Yes, it will increase in summer because there is another activity that would be added to your basic activities, and that activity is sweating, right? That's why it will increase in summer as well. ठीक है? Fine, it is now clear. So that is what is the importance of temperature. Temperature determines two things. Temperature, why temperature as abiotic component is important for an organism? Because it determines two things. Smooth flow of enzymes, biochemicals produced by our body are called as enzymes, right? उनका smooth flow होना किस पे dependent है? Temperature पे dependent है. And basal metabolism किस पे dependent है? Basal metabolism is also dependent on temperature. Clear? So that is what is importance of temperature in our life. Now related to temperature, there are two terms that you should be aware of. ठीक है? टेम्परेचर का इंपॉर्टेंस हमने देख लिया. टेम्परेचर से रिलेटेड दो टर्म्स है, वो आपको पता होनी चाहिए. सो based on range of temperature tolerance, based on range of temperature tolerance, organisms are classified as so two types of classifications are there of organisms. First is stenothermal. Two types of organisms are there based upon the tolerance level of the temperature, stenothermal, and second is eurythermal. stenothermal and eurythermal. These are the two terms related to organisms, steno and eurythermal. Now, what exactly mean by them? What do we mean by them? Let's try to understand. ठीक है, stenothermal. These are the organisms. These are the organisms that have narrow temperature tolerance range. Right? Stenothermal क्या होता है? These are those organisms that have narrow temperature tolerance range. Narrow temperature tolerance range. This is very important term, range. Narrow temperature tolerance range. Let me tell you what do we mean by that. Tolerance means they would be able to survive in narrow temperature range only. Right? For example, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example to make you understand this. Example. Corals. Coral polyps. Coral polyps. ठीक है? So coral polyps are the organisms that can tolerate very narrow range. मतलब around 20 degrees Celsius to 23 degrees Celsius is the range in which they would be able to survive. ठीक है? If temperature goes beyond this particular range, survival of coral polyps would be threatened. Right? ये रेंज कितनी है? मान लेते 3 डिग्री सेल्सियस की रेंज. सो बहुत छोटी रेंज है टेम्परेचर की जिसमें ये कोरल पॉलिप्स सर्वाइव कर पाते हैं, एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे आर रेफर्ड एज स्टेनोथर्मल. क्लियर? रेंज ऑफ टॉलरेंस मीन्स range of temperature in which they are able to survive. Clear? So range of tolerance for stenothermal is narrow. I hope it is clear. समझ में आ रहा है? Clear है everyone? If you have any doubt, please ask. Let me give you other examples of stenothermal. Stenothermal के और examples है. You can write amphibians. Coral polyps आपने लिखे. Then amphibians. नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल है पोलार बियर. नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल है टूना फिश. यू कैन ऑल्सो राइट टूना फिश. ठीक है? सो दीज एग्जाम्पल्स यू कैन राइट एज एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ स्टेनोथर्मल. टर्म बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. Remember this term, stenothermal. Can we or any organism increase our body temperature tolerance range? No. Right? See, in case of humans, we need to have body temperature at 37 degree Celsius. हमारे internal temperature को कितना रहना चाहिए? 37. ठीक है? External temperature, when we talk about temperature range, obviously we are talking about external temperature. ठीक है? So external temperature लगभग means it has to be in a certain level, right? If it goes beyond that level, we won't be able to survive, right? For example, if they say that if temperature goes beyond 70 degrees Celsius or it means 56 to 70, बहुत सारे research papers है. कुछ research paper कहते हैं 56 डिग्री सेल्सियस, exact number दिया है उन्होंने 56 degree Celsius. कुछ रिसर्च पेपर कहते हैं 70 degree Celsius. So if our external temperature goes beyond 6, let's say 56, if our external temperature goes beyond 56 degrees Celsius, it would be difficult for us to survive without the support of cooling systems like AC. Right? हम लोग हमारी रेंज बढ़ा नहीं सकते. Right? We won't be able to increase tolerance range because there are limits to the body processes that we can carry out in different temperatures. अगर temperature बहुत बढ़ जाता है, we won't be able to carry out perspiration, which is important for our survival. ठीक है आशुतोष, just to address your doubt, no, it is not possible for organisms to increase range of their survival. No. ठीक है, और obviously means support of AC will obviously help you survive, but otherwise naturally it is not possible. Tuna fish is a fish, right? It is a type of fish which is generally seen in tropical regions, right? Tuna fish कहाँ मिलता है हमें generally? एक fish का type है, वो हमें tropical region में देखने को मिलता है. ठीक है, so tuna fish is a fish found in tropical regions. अंचल, ठीक है, so that is what is stenothermal. If you have any doubt about stenothermal, please ask. Clear? ठीक है, so eurythermal now second term is eurythermal. इसके अपोजिट, स्टेनोथर्मल के एग्जैक्टली अपोजिट इज यूरीथर्मल. these are the organisms that can survive in broad temperature tolerance range. That can survive in broad temperature tolerance range. Lecture is paused. Is it the case with everyone? Others are able to see class or not? Voice not clear. There is no one here to take care of technical thing right now. Okay, just a minute. Let me give me a minute. अच्छा, no issue. Okay. See, it might be so सारे स्टूडेंट्स के साथ नहीं हो रहा है ये. It might be the case कि आपके एंड पे थोड़ा नेटवर्क इशू होगा. ठीक है, सो प्लीज मेक श्योर यू हैव गुड नेटवर्क. ऐसे जगह पे बैठिए जहां पे अच्छा नेटवर्क आ रहा है आपको. ठीक, सो कमिंग बैक टू दिस यूरीथर्मल, कंटिन्यू करूं ना. So eurythermal are the organisms that have broad temperature tolerance range. That means they would be able to survive in a very broad temperature range. मतलब क्या? Humans. Example humans. So humans, can they survive? humans, can they survive at, let's say, just hypothetical numbers, minus 20 degrees Celsius? Can humans survive at minus 20 degrees Celsius? Of course. In Siberia, which is the region of Russia, temperature goes below minus 20 as well, right? You must have came across YouTube videos wherein people are surviving at minus 40 degrees Celsius as well, right? So minus 20 पे तो कर पाते होंगे ही, right? For sure they will be able to survive at minus 20. Now, minus 20, then can people survive at 50 degrees Celsius? Not minus, normal, plus 50 degrees Celsius, right? 50 degrees Celsius पे obviously there are regions in Rajasthan where temperatures sometimes go beyond 50 degrees Celsius, right? एक 2024 में एक स्टेशन में दिल्ली में 52 डिग्री सेल्सियस टेम्परेचर नोट किया गया था, right? So that clearly shows that yes, people can survive in 50 डिग्री सेल्सियस as well. तो ये minus 20 और ये plus 50, टोटल रेंज कितनी हो गई? रेंज हो गई 70 डिग्री सेल्सियस. So humans can survive at least in this particular range, right? So that clearly shows that temperature range, temperature tolerance range क्या है? Broad है. कोरल रीफ्स के लिए टेम्परेचर रेंज सिर्फ 3 डिग्री सेल्सियस, 20 to 23 डिग्री सेल्सियस. बट इन केस ऑफ ह्यूमंस इट इज 70 डिग्री सेल्सियस. सो वी कैन से दैट देयर आर ऑर्गेनिजम्स दैट वुड बी एबल टू सर्वाइव in broad temperature tolerance range. Those organisms are called as stenothermal. Clear? Fine. So examples humans है, humans के अलावा obviously monkeys है, monkeys, goats, cows, mostly mammals you can say, right? Mammals. And apart from mammals, birds as well. राइट. सो आप कह सकते हो कि मैमल्स यूरीथर्मल होते हैं एंड बर्ड्स दैट मीन्स एव्स आर ऑल्सो यूरीथर्मल. ठीक है. बट इन विंटर पीपल वियर हॉट क्लोथ्स. So how? See, even if we do not wear hot, let's say sweaters and all, there is an activity of shivering, right? There is an activity of shivering. There are other adaptations as well. It may be the case we will live in group, right? We will live in group. Huddling behavior would be there, right? Huddling behavior would be there. Huddle form करते हैं, right? You must be aware कि for example sports में सब लोग आके कुछ strategy discuss करके तो उसे huddle कहते हैं. So that kind of behavior may be there to continue survival. Fine. So yes, it is possible to survive in, let's say, colder conditions without winter clothes through other activities like, let's say, shivering and behavioral changes like huddling. ठीक है. Video is paused. Okay, I'm waiting. Don't worry, I'm waiting. I think clear है अभी. Yes, I think it is clear now. See, obviously, when colder conditions would be there, that would harm our body. But is it possible for us to survive by taking some basic care? ठीक है. जब पुराना टाइम था, जब स्वेटर्स वगैरह नहीं थे, तब फायर तो था, right? We were able to at least take help of fire, right? Some kind of, let's say, eating habits must be there that would have allowed us to survive in those conditions as well. Fine. See, Ashutosh, you can take, let's say, temperature range of 0 degree Celsius. If you want, you can take temperature range of not minus 0 degree Celsius. तो यहाँ पे 50 degree Celsius आ जाएगा. So even this range is very broad range. ठीक है. Don't मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि कोई पिन पॉइंट करके मैंने टेम्परेचर लिखा है. Just normal. I just want to make you understand that people can survive in colder conditions and people can survive in extreme hot conditions. Their range is more, right? Human beings का range ज़्यादा होता है survival का as far as temperature is concerned, right? And that's why they are called as eurythermal. So examples है eurythermal के mammals like humans, monkeys, goats, cows and birds. That means aves are also an example of eurythermal. I hope it is clear to you. So these are the two terms that you should be aware of. So temperature factor में, temperature as a factor में हमने कुछ keywords discuss किए. Let me highlight those keywords that would help you when you revise. So this is one keyword, right? This is one keyword. Kinetics of the enzymes is one keyword that you should be able to understand. Second keyword obviously is this basal metabolism rate, right? That is also one important keyword. And then the next keywords are these two terms that we have talked about, stenothermal and eurythermal. Stenothermal and eurythermal, right? You should, when you revise, make sure you are aware of these four terms. I hope it is clear. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल इशू हो रहा है, बट नो प्रॉब्लम. विल डिस्कस अबाउट लास्ट पॉइंट एंड दैट इज वाटर एज ए कंपोनेंट. नेक्स्ट, second component that you should be aware of is water. Second component that you should be aware of is water. ठीक है. So why water is important? Why water is important? Water plays an important role in photosynthesis. Fine. So water plays an important role in photosynthesis. So is it not the case that it would be important not only for producers but also for consumers? Yes, right. It is important for producers as well as consumers. ठीक है. Then water determines the flow of nutrients, hormones, waste products, as well, based on the flow of blood, right? हमारे blood में there are different nutrients, right? Different nutrients that are absorbed from the process of digestion would be taken to different parts of our body through blood itself. Then blood also consists of hormones, right? कुछ hormones ऐसे होते हैं जो blood में secrete किए जाते हैं, right? So those hormones are also there in blood. And then waste products are also there like urea, right? Urea, hydrogen. So वैसे waste products हमारे blood में होते हैं. तो उस blood का flow होना किस पे dependent है? That is dependent on water. क्यों? क्योंकि blood में एक component होता है called as plasma. That plasma is almost 55% of blood. 55% हमारे ब्लड में क्या होता है? प्लाज्मा. और उस प्लाज्मा में 92% क्या होता है? वाटर होता है, राइट? सो 92% ऑफ प्लाज्मा इज वाटर एंड plasma is a major component of our blood, and that's why we can say that water is a key determinant for the flow of blood, which carries nutrients, hormones and waste products with it. ठीक है, so water इसलिए important है. Now when we say water, water की quality भी important है, right? So apart from quantity, quality of water quality of water is also important. Quality of water is also important. ठीक है, सिर्फ वाटर की अवेलेबिलिटी मतलब कितना पानी अवेलेबल है सिर्फ वो ही इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, इट इज ऑल्सो द क्वालिटी ऑफ वाटर दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अवर सर्वाइवल. ठीक है, सो क्वालिटी ऑफ वाटर इज डिटरमाइंड बाय दिस क्वालिटी is determined by quality of water is determined by its pH value, right? Its, let's say, salinity, right? pH value, salinity would determine the quality of water. ठीक है, pH value of that particular water and salinity, that means how much salt, how much NaCl is present in that water will determine the quality of water. ठीक है, क्वालिटी अच्छी है या बुरी है वो कौन डिटरमाइन करेगा? pH value and salinity of that particular water. ठीक है, fine. So that is what is the quality. Now clear है water क्यों important है? water दो वजह से important है. एक, water is basic component of the process of photosynthesis. The very basis of food production, that is photosynthesis, is dependent upon water, right? Secondly, for animals it is important because flow of blood is based upon the availability of water in blood. Clear? So दो वजह से water important है, दो reasons के वजह से water important है हमारे लिए. Fine. Now similar to the terms that we referred to, okay, let's not go into those terms क्योंकि 2 ही मिनट बचे हैं. So that is what is our today's discussion. We are not done with water as a component completely. I have to discuss something related to the range of tolerance of salinity, right? I have something related to the range of salinity to be discussed. I will discuss that in tomorrow's class. I don't want to rush through this particular part right now. So अगर आपके कुछ doubts है तो पूछ लीजिए. In case you have doubts, please ask. In case you have doubts, please ask. Yes, online students, डाउट्स होंगे पूछ लीजिए. Salinity. Salinity, what is salinity? Salinity is a property of water, and this property of water is determined by availability of salts like NaCl, right? Salinity of water is dependent upon the availability of NaCl, that is salt present in water. ठीक है, so it is the salt content, amount of salt content, right Nandini? ठीक है, no doubts. ठीक है, हेलो ललित, डाउट होगा तो पूछ लीजिए. No doubts. pH value of blood. So that is not important, but just as you have asked, pH value of blood is 7.45. It's not important right now for our discussion. In chemistry, it might be important. It is 7.45. Thank you, Aanchal. Okay, Aanchal, you may leave if you don't have doubt. Yes, it will be 12:15 to 2:15, right? 12:15 से 2:15 बजे तक क्लास होगा. A country has many ecosystems. Can that be considered in biome? See, is it the case that country में सिर्फ ecosystems ही होंगी? right? There will be some, see when we talk about ecosystem, we are obviously referring to natural part, right? उस कंट्री में ऑब्वियसली कुछ कॉन्क्रीटाइजेशन हुआ होगा, रोड्स होंगे, बिल्डिंग्स होंगी, इंडस्ट्रीज होंगी, एग्रीकल्चर होगा, राइट? सो ए कंट्री हैज मेनी इकोसिस्टम्स दैट कैन बी कंसिडर्ड एज ए बायोम, बट उस कंट्री में कुछ अलग पार्ट भी होगा. ऐसा नहीं कि उस कंट्री में सिर्फ बायोम्स है, राइट? देयर विल बी सम अदर ह्यूमन इन्फ्लुएंस पार्ट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कंट्री एज वेल. ठीक है. PDF of today's notes, PDF मिल जाता है? Yes, you will be getting this. Right, whatever I have written on the board, you will be getting that. यूरीथर्मल, आदित्य, यूरीथर्मल मतलब ऐसे ऑर्गेनिजम्स जो ब्रॉड टेम्परेचर टॉलरेट कर सकते हैं. Eurythermal are those organisms that can tolerate broad temperature range. For example, human beings 10 minus 10 degree Celsius में भी रह सकते हैं, and human beings can survive even at 50 degree Celsius as well. तो temperature range बहुत बड़ा हो गया, and that is why we can say that yes, they are eurythermal, right? Eurythermal means temperature range tolerance बहुत ज़्यादा होगी. Okay, fine. So that is about our discussion for today. I hope you have understood things that we have discussed. Tomorrow we'll continue from this particular point where I'll be discussing about 2 terms related to salinity. Fine. See you tomorrow. Thank you.